I'm not seeing it. Here we go. All right, it's delayed. It takes a second. We are live. All right, today we have casual chats, serious. Let's see myself. Hold on 1 second. Let's make sure okay. I'm all out of whack. My after the Microsoft updates, my microphone will not work. I don't know if it's cable, I don't know what. But anyway, I'm on my laptop, so this is what we got. All right, to move forward. Today we are talking about casual chats, serious clients, and why you're overthinking conversations. I'm going to be looking all over the place. I don't know where the camera is. Okay. Here we go. All right. If you are struggling to get clients, this is what it's all about. Normally, it's not maybe if you're putting out the content, if you're doing the do, right? It's not necessarily your strategy. It could be your energy. It could be a little combination of both. And by energy, you don't have to be like, hyper like Erica. You don't have to have my like energy. It's your energy and your confidence and what you are putting out there, your passion and your belief in what you're doing. And that does not mean you have to be energetic like I am. All right, so it's probably not any of that anyway. It's probably that you're overthinking. You're overthinking every single little thing. Like, should I say this? Should I say that? You're writing a post and then you're scrapping it and rewriting it, or you're doing a video and you're like, no, that was bad. And you take it down or you never even post it. So it's over and over and over, maybe over educating, overing, right? Over everything. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how to start real conversations without like the pitchy kind of energy. This is what we're really all about. You have to be able to connect with the people to be able to have a conversation with them. You need them to feel you. You need them to know that you care and that you're passionate about what you're doing, and they need to feel seen and heard. And so you have to do all of that. And sometimes it's hard in a chat, but it's a lot easier if you are being yourself, if you're just having real conversations rather than trying to be so strategic about every single thing. So we're going to talk about a framework today. I will not give it away, but it is a super easy one. So you'll get it, I'm sure, after the first letter. But I will tell you later. We're going to talk about a framework to naturally open those doors and get people talking. Stop getting ghosted, which is what we all hate, and start building the trust that you need. So why your conversations aren't converting. We already talked about that. Okay, so let me just give you a couple of maybes. So maybe you are over delivering content and under creating connection. So a lot of people think, oh, I just need to throw it out there, throw it out there, throw it out there, but nobody's engaging, nobody's connecting because you're not giving them a way to connect. So that is number one, most important with your content. Give them a way to connect, right? You're treating your content like a presentation. Ignore this, by the way, that's an old thing. Like a presentation, not a conversation starter. You don't want it always to be one way, and that's really difficult when you're the one creating the content. So you have to pull them in, engage them in some way, shape, or form. Example. I'm going to give you four, but which one of these is you? Are you like throwing all the content out there and just not creating the connection? Do you find yourself presenting like all of the time without engaging? That was two. Number three is you wait for people to comment, but you don't know how to keep the conversation going. Like it just stops. Or you're writing for validation or likes instead of resonance or relating to them in the DMs. So you want to instead of worrying about what's going on the post, what you really want to do is worry about what's going on in the DMs, is what that means. So don't worry about like going viral. I always talk about the cat video. Don't worry about so much about going viral. Try to get somebody to feel you and then want to respond to you, but in the DMs. That's so much more powerful. So which one of them is you? Like, that was probably very convoluted, but just say, are you doing a lot of content and not, drop it below. Are you doing a lot of content and not getting engagement? Is the problem that, you're very concerned about what you're doing all of the time and nobody's coming into your DMs, something like that. I made that all convoluted, sorry. All right, so are you doing endless like value bombs with no hook? So just dropping great stuff, but never engaging them. And we all want to be helpful. And I think that's important. I want you to be helpful. I want you to, give the goods, right? You want to give that out, but engage them in some way. Ask them a question, get them to respond to you. And then think about also on the flip side of that, right? So what kind of CTA, call to action, what kind of call to action are you using? Is it like a really high pressure call to action, like, drop call to book a call with me? Well, that's high pressure for somebody who's not yet ready for a whole phone call or jumping on a Zoom, right? So maybe what you want to do is get them into the DMs and chit chat a little bit, or get them to drop something, send them a freebie. There are a lot of lighter ways to do things. And think about that when you're sending them a freebie. Do you want to just send them something, or do you want them to go to a landing page? That's also complicating it a little bit as well, right? Are you doing like robotic replies? Are you using ChatGPT? Are you having these like dead end conversations that just go nowhere? And that's like, I know that's one of the biggest ones, is that a lot of people have like conversations that go nowhere. So you want to avoid that. You want to figure out how to not have that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what works? What does work? Casual voice. Be yourself. Remember, you want people to like you as much in person as they do in the DMs. And if you ever ran into them anywhere, you want them to be like, "Oh my God, I love you. You're the exact same in person as you are, in DMs or on Zoom or on whatever." You want to be the same person always, because you don't want them to meet you and be like, "Oh my God, I like had a totally different picture of who you were," or that's, you don't even talk like that, and that's how you talk all the time. You don't want to do that. So casual voice. Drop voice notes. People resonate. People want to hear your voice. They like to hear your voice and your tone, pitch, whatever. They like to hear that. Use comment first strategies, and use your you use the CTAs will that will spark dialogue and not decisions. Don't make them so hardcore, because that's what will definitely scare people away. All right, so we're getting into the framework. If you have your, oh my God, I totally forgot to pour this. If you have your paper and pen, hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me get the geekers on. Hold, please. Oh my God. Ah, okay. Hold, please. Why don't you share this? Hold on one second. Ah, Oh, that's it. All right. Get the geekers off. All right. So train of thought. Get your piece of paper out, pen. We're doing the system. I can't think of the word right now. Anyway, we're doing it. All right. So the first letter is C. This is the formula method to start conversations that will build trust, that will lead to clients. Remember, none of us like being sold to the minute somebody gets in. We all understand that most, of all the interactions, it's about business. So don't act like it's not about business, like, I just want to be your best friend. That's not it either. So you have to build the relationship, build the trust, and be honest and know that it's going with the flow. I don't know if all that made sense, hopefully. So, C, connect authentically. That is the very first thing that you want to do. You want to be yourself. Start with something real. A lot of times, so back in the teaching days, there was a thing called the sandwich. I think I've talked about this before, but you compliment. And then the second thing you do is you tell them what they can improve upon. And then you end it with a compliment again. Well, this is sort of similar, not really, but it reminds me of it. But start with something real, and a compliment is always nice, but make it a real compliment. Like if you don't like their banner, don't say it. If you hate their smile, don't say you love it. That type of thing. So make it a compliment. It could be something curious about a post that they wrote. If you bring in something that they're already doing, that makes it more real right off the bat, right? So bring in something that you've read, maybe a shared moment. Maybe you were both doing something or on something that also, brings it kind of the connection. You're looking for the connection. And think about this. If you go to a party and you're meeting somebody that you don't know, this is like conversation 101. So if you're an introvert and you're like, oh, I hate small talk and blah, 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 this is a little bit of a lesson for you and for everybody else. But the way to do it is to find some form of connection. And the way you do that is, looking. You want to look. Did you both go to the same university? Do you both have the same amount of kids? These types of things are great ways to connect right off the bat, right? But if you can't find something like that, or if you don't know them well enough, if you can't, whatever, find something to talk about, then look for something that you can compliment in their picture, in their banner, and something. Or look for a post and talk about the post. All right, so that is C. Connect authentically. If you know what the word is, drop it down below. If you know what it is, drop it down below. After this next letter, if you don't get it, I'm going to be nervous. The next letter is H. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll dive into them in a minute. All right, so the next letter is H. Who knows what the word is? Drop it down below. Highlight their win. So you're going to reflect something back. Now, if you did this in your first one, right, it's going to get a little weird. So you might have to just skip to this one. The idea is you want to open and talk and still not sell or business yet, right? You want to open and then talk a little bit because you don't want to like blah in their face. So reflect something back that you see in them, that you see in their work. Maybe if you see them going live, you talk about, how much you love their lives or how much you love what they do in their, don't say something so generic that it could be a ChatGPT thing. Talk about something that they do. If you notice that they have a podcast, you've listened to their podcast, whatever. Reflect something back about something great that they do or have done. So that is highlight their win. Highlight their win. And then the next one is A, ask with intention. So now here's where you want to move it into what you're talking about, right? So you want to use low pressure. That's not, hey, let's hop on a call. That's where you get caught up in the coffee chats because nobody knows what you're even hopping on a call about. And then it becomes the coffee chat, right? So use low pressure, natural questions that will open doors. We'll go into this in a second, but you basically want to open doors to what you're talking about, your business, their business, how this collides. Yeah. All right. The last one, if you didn't get it, it's chat. The last one is T. Take it deeper. See how I work my words here? Take it deeper. So you want to find the spark. That's when you want to leave the voice note, right? Now you've been in a conversation. I would not necessarily leave a voice note as the very first thing that you say to somebody because they don't know you yet and they might not listen to it. I wouldn't. Just saying. I might. It's not true. I might. I might not though. Drop it down below. If I sent you a voice note as my very first message, would you listen to it? Just say yes, voice note or no voice note. I want to hear that. Yeah. And do you listen to voice notes? Because I know some people say that they don't listen to voice notes, but voice notes are so effective. So it's funny that so many people say they don't listen to them and yet they're still very effective. Strange. So anyway, you can take it deeper with a voice note. That's always awesome. It's more personal. Ask a question, share a story, something that kind of brings it in. All right. All right, so we're going to dive deep into each letter. Let me check our time. Okay, I know I started late. I need to switch software. Bottom line. All right, connect authentically. I actually think, by the way, that it's not my software, that it is something I do in Zoom. It doesn't save the thing I put in there. It like reverts back to something else and I have to change it like 8 times. And I didn't realize that at the beginning. I thought it was a software. I don't know how other people do this so seamlessly. I just don't. Anyway, all right, let's go back and start over. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into each letter. So C is connect authentically. You want to start like a human, not a marketer, not a salesperson, definitely not like a cheesy car salesperson, right? And if you're a car salesman, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying. Just the general the generalization. Anyway, make the first message personal, make it real. You want it to be something that will start the connection, right? So your last post had me laughing. You nailed it. See how that's a good one, right? I've been meaning to message you. That live you did on burnout was fire. It rocked. I'm looking here and there. I think the camera's here, so. Just saw your comment about blah, blah, blah in XYZ group. I totally agree. 100%. See how those are just natural, normal messages? And it's about something that like they did, or that's a good way, right? So, you can use something like this line stuck with me and then quote something that they said. Or I've been seeing your name pop up. Just want to say hi. That could be a little bit cheesy, but if you can't think of anything else to say, you can always use that one. Or you could say something like, hey, just wanted to know, like, how did you come up with that? I love your blank framework. How did you come up with that? Or, something like that. All right, that's the C. Questions, comments. Give me one of your like lines that you might be able to use and leave a ... if you're actually pulling back from something that they did. But tell me something that you might use down there. And if you don't know, if you don't have one and you want it later, drop chat and I will send you a little worksheet that goes through a couple of these, gives you some prompts, and you can fill in your own, and that way you can have that for later. So drop chat if you want that. All right, the next one was H, highlight their win. So, you know how like the people love to hear their name first and above anything else, people love to hear their name. So always use people's names. But after that, what do people like? They like to know that you are looking at them, thinking about them, that you see them. People like that. So reflect something back with sincerity about something that they did. So if you didn't do that in the first one, you're going to do it now, right? You're going to do it now. You're going to highlight something that they did. Your vibe is so consistent lately, right? Feels like you've hit your groove. Or I've been loving your stories the last couple days. They're just so fun. I love seeing your dog. Whatever it is, right? Um, ooh, that client result that you shared. Wow, that is amazing. You're totally onto something. My eyes. I can't wait to go back and watch this and see where I'm looking. Okay, another one. Your content has just been so clear, so bold. What shifted? What gives, right? That could be. All right, so prompt starters. I noticed, remember, they want to be seen. I noticed you are blah, 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 blah. What could you put in there? So look for something. I noticed you are doing, you are, something. It's clear you, blah, 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 blah. Something that you can see that in their stuff. It's clear you, you know, have been through a lot recently, or it's clear, whatever. I can tell you've been, da, 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 da. I can tell you've been, um, I can tell you've been working out a lot recently. Your arms look amazing. Whatever. Um, they want to feel seen in what they're doing, right? So why would that work if we're talking about business and stuff? It's something that they've accomplished. It's still a win, right? If somebody's working out a lot, they want somebody to they want somebody to see it. So it's still a good thing. Well, even better if they weren't before. All right. The next one is A, ask with intention. So don't just slide into the DMs with that pitch, right? You want to slide in with curiosity. You want to be curious. So, what's your favorite kind of client work lately? What's your favorite kind of client work lately? Or are you building something new? Your content's got a spark to it lately. Or what inspired that last post? It totally hit differently. Just all of those were about what I do, but very, very light, right? You couldn't tell you couldn't tell because I wasn't moving you into something, but they were related to what I do. So you want to use low pressure prompts. When you nail this, you will nail conversations. Okay. And maybe the first couple you stink. Who cares? Move on. Keep going. When you get to 101, let me know how it goes, because that's the deal. You've got to practice and see what's working and what's not working. Once you get it, you're going to get it. So low pressure prompts. This is the big, 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 big thing. So what's something you wish more people got about your industry? Is that low pressure? Maybe. That could be a complicated answer, right? So may or may not. May or may not. Depends on how you feel. This might be a better one. If you could teach everyone just one thing, what would it be? If you could teach everyone one thing, what would it be? Or like an easy one. What's lighting you up in your biz today? I've said that like a million times. I like that one. What's lighting you up? I think that the idea is to get them speaking, right? Conversation is back and forth, but you want them to start opening up. And that's, you need to ask the questions that make them speak more. All right. And then you want to take it deeper. All right. So once they start speaking, now the door is open. Now they're a little bit more comfortable. Now you can move a little bit farther, take it a little bit deeper. See where that goes? All right. So this is where the magic happens. And that last one is what's going to make this one, right? But you can't get to this one until you master the last one. All right. So then you want to say stuff like, this reminds me of a client I helped. Mind if I share how we tackled it? blah, 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 right? Sounds like we think alike. I got a mini tool on this if you want it. We should totally jam on this more. Do you want a voice note? Right? So what you want to do is share a story. It can be personal or client-based, any kind of story that relates. Offer a tool or resource if it fits, right? Your low pressure question is about business, but light, right? And then you want to pivot into a conversation, not a pitch, pivot into a conversation. So share a story, offer a tool or a resource, or pivot into that conversation. All right, so everything, let's go back to English for a second. Who remembers writing a paper? Or if you've studied marketing, I know I geek out on marketing, but everybody was in school, so I wanted to do English, but either one, if you've studied marketing or have ever written like a paper, the whole goal of every single thing you do is to get to the next step. So example, if you are writing a sales page, right? The goal of the headline is to get you to read the subheadline. The goal of the subheadline is to get you to watch the video, do the thing, right? Every goal is to get you to take the next step. So if you have a video, you need to know, what step do I want them to take right after this video? Do I want them to hop on a call? Do I want them to download a freebie? Do I want them to, comment below? Whatever it is, one step. You want to move people through one step after another. So if you know in your head what those steps are, that's the CHAT. If you know in your head what those steps are, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get somebody to get from this point to this point. And that's why that A is so important. You need to nail the A to get them to open up. All right. So, all right. So you want to reverse engineer. You want to reverse engineer your content so that you get replies, not just likes. And this is where a lot of people will drop quotes and stuff because, yes, it's extra content. Maybe it talks about you, your values or something, but you always want to be engaging, always want to be engaging. Get them thinking about it. Ask them a question about that quote at the very least, right? Give your opinions about the quote and ask the question about the quote, even better. All right. So you could do, instead of saying comment if this resonates, right? Comment if this resonates. Maybe you do something lighter and just say, drop a fire emoji, and you can actually put the little fire, right? Drop a fire emoji if this hit. That's easy for people to do. Quick engagement. You want them to be able to answer. That's why on that last one before, I thought, maybe that was a little bit too deep now that I'm saying it out loud, right? Maybe that was a little bit too deep. You want them to be able to give a quick and dirty answer, even if it's an emoji. So you can use stories and carousels to create those micro moments. And then you want comments to move to DMs. Yes, comments to DMs. So you want to comment like a conversation, not a compliment dump. That's also like creepy or weird, right? You don't want to just like dump a bunch of niceness on somebody. That's kind of weird too. Use polls, use this or that. Do you remember those? Those were so cool. I don't know why nobody uses those anymore, but use this or that. It's very low barrier. And that's what you're looking for. Low barrier. You just need to get it in motion. What's in motion stays in motion. What stays in motion, whatever. Physics. You need to get it in motion. That's the biggest piece. And if you just do and then it stops, right? It's hard to pick up that motion again. So you just want it to go. And then You want them on their side, on their side, on their side, right? You want them talking. All right. Leave open loops. What does that mean? Get them thinking. Invite responses. So, ask questions or don't answer it for them is what an open loop means. All right. Hopefully you guys got it. It's chat, CHAT. I want you to drop chat below if you want the worksheet on this. It just kind of goes through the whole thing and then it gives you some of those prompts to do it. If you have like some amazing ones, chat me. Send me a DM. I'd love it, or drop them under this video, because sometimes there's some that we can use in different scenarios and they really, really work. And a lot of people just freeze when it comes to this. So if you are like, I've got this down pat, I didn't even need to hear this, I want you to drop yours below or send them to me so I can add them to some of the things that I do, because the more the merrier, the more the merrier. What resonates with me might not resonate with you, but what you have down might resonate with somebody else. So let us know. Share the wealth. All right, just to recap real quick, you do not need perfect content. You need engaging content. You need content that creates connection, right? Open up those doors. You don't need a better funnel. You don't. You need better conversations. Better conversations. You don't need to sound more expert. You need to sound more you. People want to work with you. So I was talking to somebody the other day, and image is everything. I think image is everything. And if you want your image to be a certain way, then you need to act a certain way. But you almost have to change your identity if you want your image to be a certain way, to act a certain way, if you're not already like that. So if you want it to be that, then that's okay, but start moving in that direction of changing your identity. Otherwise, it's really hard to do it all the time. It's like faking all the time. So somebody a long time ago told me to slow down, and I try, but I get excited. You have to watch me on, I watch everybody on like 1.5 or 2, sometimes 1.75, but sometimes 2, depending on how slow they talk. Everybody has to watch me on like 0.5 or 0.75. I'm okay with that. I have tried to slow down, but what I do is I will slow down and I'll speak and I'll enunciate my words for about a minute. And then I go pick up and I pick up and I pick up and then it's off to the races. It's really hard for me to do. And I don't necessarily want to change my personality into doing that, because it's not who I am as a person, and I don't want to be that person. So I just don't. Anyway, if you do, then do. You want to start changing it little by little. It's like creating a new habit. You can change your entire identity, but keep in mind, be you. So if you want to be this person, you're going to have to gradually move into that person, right? You're going to have to start stepping into that person. Be you is what I want to say. Sound like you, because you want to sound like you no matter if you're on a video, if you're on a live, if you're on whatever, a reel, in person, a Zoom, whatever it is, you still want to sound like you. And I know we all sound a little bit different depending on in different environments. I get that. You're not going to act the same way in your living room as you do on stage, or in a press conference as you do in a boardroom, whatever. You're going to act differently in different scenarios. I get that, but a variation. All right, use the chat framework and watch how fast strangers become supporters and clients. Woo woo. If you want that the worksheet, just drop chat below this video, and I will see you same time, same place next week. And I have another event coming up. If you are interested, just drop event and I will send you some details. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day. I hope this all came out.